There's a rainbow way up high. There's a land I dreamed of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, over the rainbow, over the rainbow, bluebird, 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 bluebird fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Oh why, oh why can I? Someday I wish it on a star. And wiggle with the clouds, with the clouds, with the clouds, with the clouds that fall behind me. Where trouble melt like lemon drop. Where I'm blind to scenery top. That's where you find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, over the rainbow, over the rainbow, way up high. Fly over the rainbow, why? Oh, why can I? Someday I wish upon a star and wake up with the clouds, with the clouds, with the clouds that fall behind me. Where trouble melt like lemon drop. Where I'm the chimney top. That's where you find me. Somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebird, 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 bluebird fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Oh why? Oh why can I?
How does somebody become Ironing Board Sam? Well, there's only one of them. I don't think it can be replicated, but I'm going to tell you a few of the highlights of how somebody becomes Ironing Board Sam and makes all of you people smile. So he grew up in Rock Hill, South Carolina. He first discovered that he wanted to be a musician when his brother brought him to Winston-Salem, where he was playing the F-Boogie, which was the only song he knew how to play in a little juke joint out there. They called it, what did they call them? Drink houses. And they had a little red light when they had some moonshine on. And he would go up there and play all night long. And he was 14 years old, and this grown woman came and sat on his lap. And he thought, I'm gonna be a musician. But he was, you know, he was poor. He grew up on a farm. His daddy took care of him, but they were poor farmers, and he had to really work his butt off to get himself a keyboard. He found his way down to Florida. He was playing with the Five Rhythm Brothers down there on South Beach. Earned enough money, saved up to buy a Hammond B3 organ. It was his first musical instrument. A week later, the bar burned down along with his Hammond B3 and his whole fortune. Well, being the kind of person that he was, he kept moving. He picked up the pieces, literally picked up the pieces of this burned out Hammond B3 organ, and he found his way home to back to Rock Hill, South Carolina. And he had these random pieces from a Hammond B3, just like the innards, like kind of looked like this, but it was just all burnt out. And he found some transistors along the highway, some pieces of telephone poles and whatnot, and he got a 2x4, and he devised a way to create a keyboard, a non-action keyboard, using thumbtacks, these wires left over from the Hammond B3 organ, and transistors that he found along the side of the road. And he made what I think might be the first non-action portable keyboard out of a small board from Rock Hill, South Carolina. And he didn't have anywhere to put it, so it was sitting on the kitchen table, and his daddy came in and he said, "What's that doing there? Get it off my table." So he went out to the Five and Dime and he bought an ironing board, and he put this thing on the ironing board. And he was ashamed that he didn't have the money to buy himself a real instrument, so he took some fabric and he upholstered the whole outside of this keyboard so cover up the fact that it was homemade, even though I think that that's the coolest thing. Yeah. Like, who knows how to make their own keyboard? That's freaking awesome. There were no rules, there were no like instructions or anything. So he took his instrument and he kept on playing. He went over to Memphis and started playing with a traveling carnival, and they played from town to town. He made good money, built a reputation for himself. And every town he came to, the people would come up to the stage and they'd pull the drapes aside and they'd see those ironing board legs and they'd say, "Ha ha, ironing board Sam," and making fun of him. Yeah. And he was embarrassed and ashamed, but the name stuck. And this producer from Nashville who was getting ready to put together a television program called Night Train, which is the first all-African-American televised music review back in the 1960s, heard about ironing board Sam. What was that guy's name? Charlie, the guy, the producer from Night Train. What was his name? Noah Blackwell. So Noah Blackwell said, "Ironing board Sam, I want you to be a featured actor on my television show." Moved him to Nashville, started playing nightly on TV, and got big. He played with all sorts of legendary R&B musicians that he shared the stage with. He was also playing at the Del Morocco, which was a big club down there in Nashville before they put the highway through there. And he played in his band, Jimi Hendrix, Billy Cox. He played with Jimmy Reed and Earl Hooker and James Brown and a whole list of people. And they all looked up to Sam because he was the freakiest and the most badass of them all. So anyway, with that fame, he went on the road, went to LA, recorded for some different folks, went to Chicago, played and recorded, and found his way to New Orleans, where he spent about 30 years just blowing people away regularly. He built an underwater tank. There he produced his first underwater blues show, the first and only ever underwater blues show, which was performed at Jazz Fest and at clubs. You could go into a little club in Asheville, North Carolina, and you'd see this soaking wet blues musician underwater playing down-home blues or something. You know, it's incredible stuff. And then he found his way back to New Orleans, was playing on the street, the world's only human jukebox on Bourbon Street. As a reaction to the disco age, he was pissed. You know, people didn't want to pay for live music. They put money in a jukebox, so he's like, "Okay, I'll be a jukebox survivalist." Yeah, and he's killing it still. We met up with him about 3 years ago. He was back in Rock Hill retiring. He said, "Sam, you want to come out of retirement?" He said, "Yeah, I think so." So we got him a keyboard. Told those guys down at Jazz Fest that he was still around. They brought him down there, and he performed back in 2011. Had a sold out 10,000 people or something in there. And he's been rocking and rolling ever since, and we're lucky to have him here in the Triangle. He's a resident. How cool is that? And how cool is the Hopscotch Festival? We're really excited that Sam is on the stage as part of this festival. Anyway, I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk, so I'm going to give it back to Sam. Ironing board Sam! Oh!
talking, 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 talking in my sleep. Tell me something, I don't know the things I got to find. All I got to hold on to, never tongue and left. You said nah, 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 nah. You will find, easy, easy. Cry, you in trouble. Someone make it feel better. Someone make it feel better. Nah, 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 nah. Walking, 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 walking in the street. Talking, 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 talking in my sleep. Tell me something, I don't know the thing I got to find. All I got to hold on to, never tongue and left. You say nah, 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 nah. Sing it to your mama, sing it to your sing it. I'm need some, get it on, I'm gonna get it on. I'm gonna need some. Kick it, kick it, kick it. Kick a hole in it. Sing it in the morning, sing it in the evening, sing it to your mama, sing it to your papa, sing it to your mama, to your papa. Sing a simple song, make it that song. Sing a simple song and make it feel alright. Make it funky. Sing a simple song, make it feel better. Sing a simple song and make it feel alright. Oh, give me a hand. That's the mic on drums, y'all. One of the greatest of them all. I'm not getting wound up now.